Imagine you're a leading mobile phone company in the early 2000s with a vision to become the market leader in the era of smartphones. You have the technology and the customer base to achieve that, but you just cannot get the entire company to move fast enough to make the transition. In the end, other competitors beat you to the game and you fade into oblivion. That was the sad but true story of Nokia. It was a titan in the mobile phone industry and it had the right strategy and it even developed a new operating system for the smartphones. But they were plagued by internal issues and were eventually overtaken by competitors like Apple and Samsung. Have you and your team ever felt really excited about a breakthrough idea, but just couldn't find the time to make it happen? Nokia was just one of the many companies that had a good vision but failed due to execution. And sadly, this happens at all levels of an organization. Ultimately, it's not enough to have a great strategy or a great idea. Real results come from what your team actually does every day and every week to bring those ideas to life. Hi, I'm Angela from GrowthGarden. In this video, we'll learn one foundational rule and 4 powerful principles to help everyone on the team to get laser focused to achieve your most important goals. Can you imagine a day at work when you don't have to deal with urgent issues? That's impossible in most companies, and it's perfectly understandable. When the website goes down, when a marketing campaign is due, or an angry customer is at your door, you must deal with those issues. But it's so easy to get stuck in the daily grind, and that's when the business starts to stagnate. In fact, that's the number one reason that companies fail to achieve their big goals. It takes time and energy to think through an idea and to execute it really well. But most of the time, we are so busy running around putting out fires that we have no time at all to execute those big ideas. Is it really possible to manage the whirlwind of daily tasks and still have the time and energy to focus on activities that really drive future successes? Yes, it's possible. And the simplest and most effective strategy is to follow the 80-20 rule. This is also known as the pareto principle. Basically, 20% of everything you do will deliver 80% of your results. The idea here is to keep 80% of your time and resources focused on your business operations and just allocate 20% to drive your most important high-impact goals. The next question is, how do we use that 20% of our time in a way that keeps everyone on track towards the key goals? In the 4 disciplines of execution, they highlight 4 principles that will help you to get more high-impact stuff done during the year. We will be going through them one by one and then bringing them together at the end of this video to see how to apply them. Along the way, I've also integrated practical tips from these books as well as lessons from my own trial and error in business and in life. You can find all the relevant book and book summary links in the description below. When you're setting goals for the company, everything seems important. To drive sales, you need marketing. But marketing needs to be supported by a good product. And you need revenue to buy the materials and pay your employees. Yet, if you're focusing on everything, then you're focusing on nothing. Our first principle, the discipline of focus, says that you should focus on just 1 or 2 critical things that will make the biggest difference in your company. Ask yourself, what must happen this year in order for you to achieve your 3 to 5 year vision? And from there, what are the 1 or 2 things that are the most essential? These are the things which, if done, will make everything else easier, and if not done, will make everything else irrelevant. To be actionable, your goal must be specific, measurable, and time-bound. A good formula goes like this: to get from X to Y by when. For example, to increase customer retention from 30% to 50% by the end of June 2024. Just remember this formula for now because we'll be coming back to it in just a little while. Do you remember the 80-20 rule we spoke about? Now, in any business, the chances are 20% of your customers, products, or channels will contribute to 80% of your revenue. And a few key ideas will bring about the bulk of your improvements. Let's apply this to principle number 2. The discipline of leverage says that you must identify the highest impact activities that will drive your goals. Let's return to the goals formula to get from X to Y by when. Such results are usually lag measures, meaning they are the results of things they've done in the past. For example, an improvement in customer retention is the outcome of your past efforts. Lag measures describe what to achieve, but not how to achieve them. That's where the lead measures come in. These are indicators that predict whether you will achieve your goal. Let's say you own a chain of cafes. To improve customer retention, the lead measures could be the quality of customer experience, measured by the percentage of customers who rate their experience as excellent, and your loyalty program engagement, measured by the percentage of customers who enroll in your program and actively use their perks. In other words, if more customers have an excellent experience at your cafe, enroll in your loyalty program, and use their perks, then your customer retention will naturally improve. Once you've identified your lead measures, you want to identify and focus on 20% of the efforts that will deliver 80% of the results. For example, to improve the quality of experience, you could zoom in on the quality of your coffee, the retail experience, or your staff training. By focusing on just a handful of lead measures and high-impact activities, and doing them really well, you will deliver much better results than if you dilute your efforts over way too many things. Do you notice how the entire team, from the training team to product development and the frontline employees, are now focusing on the same goals? It's this combined effort that really drives momentum to propel you forward. To understand the next principle, let's take a step into the world of sports. Every year, many people travel near and far to sports events like the NBA playoffs or the Football World Cup. Even though they are not in the game, they share the high and lows of the team that they are supporting. But can you imagine watching a game without a scoreboard? You have no idea what's going on, and there's nothing to root for. Such a game will be totally confusing and boring. Yet, that's usually what happens at work. People are working around the clock without any idea if they're really moving towards their goals or making any real impact. The discipline of engagement addresses this. It says that to perform at their best, the team must be emotionally engaged and committed to success. Like spectators at a stadium, your team will only be engaged if they know whether they are winning or losing. This means having a scoreboard where everyone can see how they are doing real time relative to their goals. A good scoreboard should be engaging and visible. It should be so simple and visible that it can be understood in just 5 seconds, such as a progress bar or a chart. It should show your progress towards both your big goals, the lag measures, and your daily activities, or the lead measures. Let's imagine you've applied the first 3 principles. You've set your concrete goals, identified high-impact lead measures, and designed a scoreboard where everyone can see where they stand. But there will still be daily fires to fight and operational issues to deal with. How do we help people to stay on track instead of getting lost in their daily tasks? This is where the last principle sets in. The discipline of accountability is about creating a rhythm of meetings and check-ins to build accountability to keep team members focused on the high-impact activities identified earlier. We're basically using positive peer pressure to keep everyone focused and accountable. There are 2 practices that will help. First, having weekly accountability meetings. At the start of every week, just set aside 30 minutes for the team members to refocus on their 1 to 2 critical goals. Each member shares a quick update on their progress to date, what they are doing this week to help move towards the goals, and to get any help or feedback required. To keep the momentum going, it's really important to stick to the weekly meetings, rain or shine. End each meeting on a high note by focusing on what's going well, what can be improved, and share some mutual encouragement. Second, celebrate every progress and milestone. Remember, everyone is still spending 80% of their time juggling day-to-day work. So, whatever progress that you're making with this 20% of your time is worth celebrating. Even if you only achieve 85% of what you set out to do, it is still 85% more than what you would have achieved without those efforts. The 4 principles that we've covered, along with the extra tips that I threw in, will help your entire team to stay laser-focused on a few critical goals that will truly drive results. This alone can help your team to make more progress in the next year than ever before. But if you are thinking, that's not enough, I need a detailed step-by-step guide with templates and someone to walk me through everything. Don't worry, I've included links below to 2 more frameworks that you could choose from. Both approaches include the 4 principles that we've explored, but they string them together in slightly different ways. First is a method called Objectives and Key Results, or OKRs for short. This is very well known in the Silicon Valley, and Radical Focus is the best book that I've read so far on this topic. The idea is to break down your year into quarters, and for each quarter, focus on just 1 objective with 3 measurable key results that will jointly tell you if your objective has been met. There are suggested templates, meeting guidelines, and tools that you can use to roll out the process with your team. The second option, the 12-week year, is even more ambitious. It also applies similar principles, but it compresses the entire year into just 12 weeks. Yep, basically you're getting the entire year's work done in just 1 quarter. Very intense. Personally, I prefer the OKR approach, and that's the method I'm using now to drive reading graphics forward. We're still on a steep learning curve over there. I'll be sharing more behind-the-scenes insights on how we are learning and refining as we go. Do subscribe and stay tuned for more videos. I've also included the links to these summaries in case you wish to do a deep dive. Obviously, it takes time to implement these ideas and get your team adjusted to a new way of thinking and working. But this is a surefire way to help you achieve your most important goals as a team without jeopardizing your ongoing business operations. So, while the other businesses are struggling and dying from their execution issues, you'll be pulling ahead quarter by quarter and year by year. In the process, you're also building a truly high-performing team. There is an important caveat. You can only define your most important goals if you already have a clear vision of where you're headed in the next 3 to 5 years. Otherwise, you'll be like driving full steam ahead without even knowing your destination. You will probably run out of fuel, or worse, drive right off a cliff. So if you don't have a long-term vision yet, or even a mid-term strategy, then check out this video on how to gain clarity and align your team behind a strong, compelling vision. I'll see you in that video.